Hello there. I figured it's time for an update. I haven't gone to sleep, at least not for the entire duration since the last one. And I found a few more things out. But what I want to do now, before going on with the next little demonstration, is I want to reboot my machine to sort of just get everything back to the original state. It's currently in a state that I want to develop or bring it into. So I guess I don't really need to explain this, except that I also want to make sure of something which I believe I understand now. I'm pretty sure, anyway. I'm pretty sure I know how to identify which of the various versions of myself is the one that clicks on the screen and stuff. I also want to verify that there are only ever two versions of me, and that they're both created when I log on. I don't need to run this thing or anything like that. So I'm going to log off, I'm going to log on, and I'm not even going to touch anything and verify that that other me is already logged on. And then I'm going to try an interesting experiment. Okay, so first I'm going to reboot. So see you soon. I just realized I forgot I said I wasn't going to run the command prompt before verifying that I was already logged on. But I think just the you'll see in the rest that follows that I wouldn't have had. I don't need to not run it because well, you'll see. It doesn't matter if I run it or if I don't run it. You'll see that definitely I exist. One of the me's existed before that box was open. Okay. So not too much time has elapsed. I had a couple of other things to do just before going on with this. Now you'll notice, one thing you'll notice anyway, is that I've added something to my command prompt. You know, that session LUID. I print that here because I want to see if that number ever changes. For the super duper shell, if I could get it to run, you'll notice that its number is different, as you would expect, as we saw before. And it's going to remain to be that number until I reboot again. But usually the number I've seen here has been like 309 something. Come on. Okay, that's still the same as it was. Now, no, should I do that here? I was trying to just quickly hack something. Okay, no, I won't do that here. I want to open the compiler to get to the help file. Well, first, while the health file is doing whatever it needs to do, the trillions of operations necessary to start up, I can add that I have a correction that, which I can show you if that ever loads up. That I've been saying, or I thought that LSA itself was a replaceable part of the operating system, but I no longer. I don't think that's correct. LSA in itself is not replaceable. It's part of the system. It comes with the system, but it allows for the addition of these packages. It manages the packages, I think. Now, if I can just see if I can find that. I had to. I'm going to get to this word Gina. Logon. Sending message to Gina. It doesn't tell us not to. Or maybe this component. That's component to the hang on a second. Okay, I think this doesn't really say exactly, but authentication. Okay, authentication is that word that keeps coming up to do with, in particular, with that that number here. That was, remember, called the authentication ID, and that has to do with a logon. Applications can use to authenticate and log on. So here they're just talking about this part of LSA, which is a subsection that has to do with the authentication process. These functions, anyway, allow someone to write a graphical authentication DLL called a GINA form. Graphical Identification and Authentication Dynamic Link Library. So this is a replaceable component. So somebody could write one. But still nothing about replacing LSA. Combined with Security Support Provider Authentication Package. So here's another package. So you can be a security support provider / authentication package combined. That is, you're responsible for not only the authentication, logon, but also something called security support. Now here they don't go into security support, I don't think. this is just authentication, which is only to do with Logon. Alright, now, and then there's probably more, but stick with one thing at a time. Yeah, see, there's a lot about this, but like the text I copied down, I don't know where from. This is copied out of it read this way: LSA supports custom security packages which function as security support providers for distributed applications and authentication packages. So we have the two categories for those things that require such services. Now, furthermore, the functionality is accessed using the same interface as a standalone package. This probably me above. While the support provider functionality is accessed using secure support for another interface. The set of LSA support functions available to the custom security packages allows them to supply advanced security features such as token creation and supplemental credentials management, whatever that is. Okay, now here they're talking about things like networks and databases. Okay, now here, this seems important. Because such products, these non-Microsoft products, often have their own security credentials, like they have their own built-in security, the LSA provides functions that the packages can use to associate non-Microsoft credentials with Windows processes. See? So you can apply your own arbitrary credentials rules with the Windows processes, and then querying and so on and whatever. Now the next bit is also kind of interesting, I think. Each class of Logon device. Okay, now this is a little bit confusing. Let's think of this as well, this is an abstract type device, I think. Can have its own Logon process. They get to a specific example. Device classes typically include things like smart card readers, right? But for the purposes of LSA authentication, connected networks are also treated as devices, like a keyboard. That's my addition. So by default, the Windows operating system provides Logon process that supports username and passwords using a keyboard, right? So that's given by default. If you want to add support for other devices, what you do is you take advantage of the fact they just mentioned up here that connected networks are treated as devices. So developers can add support for other devices such as smart cards and readers. I'm going to explain. For more information, see smart card authentication. I haven't read this part yet, and now I don't even know how to get back to this page. And then I started to look at Logon, WinLogon, and Gina, and I wrote down a bit about that. we already saw. Okay. So back to my favorites. Now the first part here, first, I don't know if you know this, but it's been the case ever since, for as long as I can remember, that this concept, this desktop concept, has always allowed for the existence of multiple desktops. In fact, I had a friend once who wrote a utility that would allow you to, make more and more desktops, and you could switch between them, and it seemed like it would be a useful tool. It turned out it was totally useless. Like the idea would be you would have more space. You could switch from one to another. But the thing is, the Windows environment itself is already like that, so it didn't turn out to be very useful. However, the desktop, I don't know if this has changed. It must have changed its meaning over the years. Because the desktop is intimately connected with this whole logon process. Okay. So when when the system starts up, there's something called WinLogon. I'm sure you've seen it in the list. It registers a handler for Control-Alt-Delete, which is a special sequence, and then creates 3 desktops within what's called a window station. A window station is a collection of desktops. Basically, a group of desktops. Now I say something about how the way it's done ensures that Control-Alt-Delete is initialized. No other applications of this hook. And since this is done first, then it is a certainty, at least at that point, that the first hook, if ever there is to be another hook on this sequence, the first thing registered with that hook is the WinLogon. Okay. Now this window station thing, and I don't know, I haven't seen this come up yet, is the name of the object that represents the physical screen, keyboard, and mouse. Okay? So here are the 3 things, the 3 desktops that are created. Now you don't see this one normally, you're not seeing it now. But this would be the one that you would first see. So this is the interactive authentication part. You're typing your username in, whatever. And then, so whenever you're going into the authentication phase, it switches to this particular desktop. Okay. Then there's the normal desktop. When a user logs on and is created for that logon session. The application desktop is also called the default or user desktop, and it is protected. Only the system and the interactive logon session. Notice how the use of the, okay, there's only ever one, have access to it. And only a particular instance of the logged on user has access to the desktop. So they're already saying that in general, there are more, there will be various instances of the Logon user, the 2 Allen, but only one of them has access to the desktop. That would be the one that, like me, the one who's speaking to you. So that's a human. If the interactive user activates a process using the service controller, that service application will not have access to the application desktop. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it seems like there's no way that any application will be able to have access to the desktop. Access, I'm not sure exactly what that means either. Like, surely, I've run batch programs that have made little blotches appear on the desktop. I can get, the handle to the desktop window and do things to it. I can post messages to it. So I'm not sure what they mean by service application will not have access to the application desktop. Anyway, then there's the screensaver. So there's that third one, which is the intermediate stage. Both the system and the now it's not a human interactive logon section have access to that desktop. Otherwise, if there's nobody logged on, I suppose, only the system has access. Now, which desktop are they referring to? This is if you logged on. Okay, so the screensaver desktop is either accessible to the system or the system and one of the logged on users. Okay. So that means, therefore, if I could know with certainty that there were only 2 Allens logged onto this system, right? Then I could tell you exactly which one is the desktop. This would have to be the user ID of the owner of the desktop if there were only 2, right? Makes sense? It certainly can't be this one. This one has limited rights, and this one, if that's the user, if that's me as it were, then it would have the same access that I have, and it does, right? Look, it can run regedit. I do that. I didn't have to answer any questions. I can run regedit if I had a link on. Well, I might not be able. I might be asked a question, but this one's already been asked the questions, which is why it's useful to have that one open. I don't have to keep see this user type that. If I click this, I got to answer a question. Right there, although it didn't get recorded, I had to answer a question. But if I do it this way, no questions. No questions asked. So that means this thing has already got all the rights, at least as many rights as I've got. Well, actually, the other one wouldn't be able to open this up. I have to change it to prove that it's the same. See? Now, how much time have I used? What I want to do, well, firstly, I'm going to show you my little program I wrote. First, it was a unit test. I was going to make something in Windows, but because I wanted to make sure, because I know this debugger, right? What it does sometimes, well, maybe all the time, is it sort of makes a secret console and then launches the application from there. I think, or it might be doing that. So I thought if I had a Windows program, it wouldn't make a console, possibly, and or at least I could click on it on the desktop or something to try and find out who I am, which of these identifiers corresponds to me. Well, then I discovered this function called, forget the TS part. This is a function. Enumerate logon sessions. Now, me having all these rights and everything, I can enumerate all of the sessions. Okay? And the reason I'm not using just using it directly is because this again is one of those functions that not every system will support. So I'm using the dynamic, dynamic function lookup. If the function doesn't exist, then I can't use it, but I can still run my programs. Well, it turns out that works on my system, and here's my new array class, which I'd like to briefly look at, but one thing at a time. What this thing returns, in fact, is an array of LUID numbers, and I copy those numbers into this array and return them by just passing this in by reference, and then I just go through the array and print out the information. Turns out that's another function, this one, given an LUID, and why they want a pointer, I don't know, and it returns you a logon session data, which has all kinds of information. When you log on, blah blah blah, your SID, server, type of logon, etc. So I do that. I retrieve the data and print everything out. Except I noticed that the last entry, it seems, and I'm pretty sure I know which one that is sort of invalid. It's not a valid user. I think that's the one that I would have got the warning with before. Remember the tokens program. Tokens program I've changed that to a utility now, and I've built it, and it's in my utilities, always available. It's called PS-Tok. If I just run it, it gives that same output as before. Okay. Now this number should match this number. It also has, the reason why I wanted this is because what I can do is I can just print out the bits that I want, right? Like if I want the source, so if I would say /p equals source, and I get the source, is this user 32. Now you're going to notice that all of the LUIDs, okay, are kind of around the same value, and that's what got me curious. I started printing out the LUIDs in a more convenient format, so that I could start to see, or I started to see, what seemed to be some connection. Now, see, look. Now, this here, last time, well, you didn't see it. I could reboot and make it change again. But this was 309 something something, 099 or something, okay? And everything else was 309 and 900 something, 33, 66, various things. And so now, so this looks like something to do with a logon. Then, okay, get through all that. That's okay. Now I think that they've worded this wrong. Authenticator ID of the token. Okay, alright, fair enough. This is just no filtering. Now, the logon session ID again is 999. Now, I don't know. Oh, sorry, origin. The token origin. This is not wrong. I should take that as the printout. Owner, name, sandbox, still no IP. Now this 233 is, 245, 233. They seem to come. Okay, now these ID numbers are all over the place. But this one, the authentication ID, which is me, I believe. I'll show you why in a minute. This number, sorry, makes sense. Okay. First, let's just walk through this program and look at the printer. Or actually, I can run it. Debug Unicode. See, I wanted that console back. Now, what am I doing here? That's not where I said to run to. Let's start over here. Okay, I'm making a console. Okay, so I got 7 sessions. There are 7 sessions going on in this machine. Now, I've spent a lot of time working on just making the interface to these functions a little bit easier. Things bound to remember to free everything and so on. Now this logon time is in this. I happen to just remember that it's in a system time format. This P data is that struct. See? All the information about this particular user. Who is this particular user? Not that. Logon ID, so that's not me, that's 277. Somebody else. However, it says Alan. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. And this one, that's 250. Oh. Well, Oh, okay, it's this one. Phew. My theory is still surviving. Okay, so this is the crippled Allen. Now, authentication package is NTLM, which I think probably stands for NT LAN manager or something like that, or logon manager. The logon type is 21, which means interactive. Session 11. Now, this is, oh dear, no, it's not 11, is it? That's an L. That's an L, that's not a 1. Okay. So, I thought %UL was unsigned long. Are there any L's here? Session 1. Why am I getting it? Why am I getting L there? Anyway, I'll figure that out. Maybe this is a... Maybe it's LU. Maybe it's for LU. There's no other UL. There's one right above it. So there must be a mistake here. Okay, this is 2, not 21. 2 interact. Let me fix that now. Oh, I thought I copied that unsigned wrong out of there. Nothing LU here? Let's see. There we go. It is LU. Okay, SID. That's my famous number. Now this is the interesting bit. Log on time 8:05:54. Okay. Server, that's my machine. And these are always empty. So nothing there. Next entry. Me again. That's the 255 version. LM. Everything else the same. See, look. Our logon times are the same. So this user was created when this user was created at the time of logon. It never happened. It didn't happen when I ran this thing. That was run, a long time after I logged on, and these certainly weren't run at the same time, and the desktop certainly wasn't run at the same time at any. None of these things have time in common. So therefore, these two users had to have been created at the time of logon. That I believe follows. Unless we found another one. The question is, will we? Now, try and guess who this one is. Anonymous logon. Domain. So the username is called anonymous logon, with logon domain is entity authority. See, it's weird. So entity authority has the name anonymous logon. Don't ask me why. Same authentication package. Type. Network. That's a network logon. An anonymous. Well, it's not anonymous, is it? Oh no, I guess it's an anonymous logon. Session 0. So this one is the server, right? This one's connected to the server, whereas I'm connected to the client. And unlike my belief before, that SID is 157, which doesn't appear in the registry. And I suppose it shouldn't, because it's not on the local machine. See? That user isn't in the registry. That user, in terms of the network, is not part of this remote machine that I'm on, that I'm logged on to, right? I don't know if I run PS exactly if I'd see it. I guess we could try that. Logged on slightly before me, 1 minute before. The rest of it is blank. Yeah. Alright, who's next? You can imagine my surprise while I was tracing through this initially. Like, aren't you curious to find out what this might be? 997? It sounds a lot like that 999 that keeps showing up. What could it be? Oh, something called local service. That's the name. Domain. Same domain. So I would guess that local service must be in this other session. Maybe not. No, I don't know. Now, authentication package. What was it for this one? Now, this is different. I have no idea. Those are things that have to be looked into. It's a service type logon. Session 0. So it is 0. Okay. So now local, of course. The server is local, right? Whereas the this server would be local. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It makes sense because everything is remotely run. Now that one's 19. Does it show up here? It is here. Now that's weird. How come this one shows up in the registry? Okay, I'll try and figure that out. And look at the rest. 200540. But that was much earlier than this one. Turns out. Okay. This is the logon package. Oh, this must have to do with WinLogon that was started up and interacted with me in that Windows part of the Windows station that has to do with the logging on part, I think. Who's next? Now 996. What was my logon ID? What did that thing say? Logon ID status. What was the 999? Won't look at the full thing again. Yeah, that's origin. Okay. You see how these numbers are close, and you kind of think like maybe there's a connection. Again, now this one is work. Oh dear. Username is like the name of the computer. Work group, negotiate. This is probably part more to do with the logon process. Yeah, actually this one's earlier than that one. And this is number 20 in the registry. Also, session 0 would have to be. Session 1 didn't exist when that one started. Now this is, I think this, no, one more, sure. NTLM, package, no user, no domain, and oh, that's the invalid one. Invalid one came up not as the last entry. There's 999, okay. Work group, also invalid, okay. Neither of these is both of these have empty logon strings. Like they're not a valid logon type. They're sessions, but whatever their types are, they're not listed anyway. Although these numbers look the same. I'm not sure about that. I don't know why I get a weird number there, but I think these are the things that log you on, so they're not really logged on. All they do is the authentication. You send a message to someone saying, okay, the user can log on, and that's it. Okay? Now, so that brings up a whole lot of questions, right? For one thing, we definitely saw that there were only 2 Allens, right? And I'm telling you, and honestly, telling you from, and as much as you can trust me to attempt to tell the truth, I swear by the highest authority available that I am controlling this mouse and I'm pressing keys, okay? And I type in the word Allen as my username, and there is only one logon that can interact with the desktop at any time, and I'm interacting with it. And so therefore, it follows that this is my authentication ID. Again, my time. Okay, now the next time, what I want to do is something I found out I was able to do, and so it might be quite interesting. If you go back to this logon, okay, here's the logon stuff. Windows states, I don't know where it says it specifically, but I left the recorder running, and I have another user built into this user manager thing. The simple one. And I created a standard user, okay, low standards, who is not currently logged on. You'll say here, there's only one user logged on to the system. But what I did was I said switch users, and I logged on to the system on a different desktop, okay, and left the recorder running. And I was hoping that the recorder would continue to run even if I switched users, and it did. It didn't stop or pause or anything. Now, so what I can do is set this up in such a way that you'll be able to see me log on, and you'll see a session 2 come up. If I go back in my PowerShell, I think this was enough, but it didn't have to be system or anything. Yeah, it was definitely in here. These here are all session 1 or 0. 3. Now what I can do is I can sort it by session, okay, and I can log off and log back on as the other user and do something in there, and you should see me log on if I leave this running and the recorder recording it, and you'll see another session occur, and I can run programs over there and you'll see them. And it says that I can send a message. Send messages. See? There's no one for me to send a message to, but I'm going to try in the other desktop to send a message to this desktop and see what happens. I don't even know yet, but we'll do it together and find out what happens at the same time, sort of. So that's my plan for the next one, and then I'm going to probably go through a small rant about a particular function that messed me up. Okay, well, I'll upload this, and I'll start with the new experiment.